Now, the next topic is what is Hamas. When you hear this word Hamas, always remember that it is related to Palestine. And Palestine and Israel are not sharing good relations, bad relations. Israel targeted Hamas positions in Gaza after rockets were fired from the Palestinian enclave. This is a kind of confusing statement. Please try to break it up and then see that Israel targeted Hamas after rockets were fired from the Palestinian enclaves towards Israel. See, if you look into the map, this is Mediterranean Sea. Here, if you see carefully, Jordan is not sharing any boundary with Mediterranean Sea. This was the question asked by UPSC in 2018 exam. That out of which of these countries is sharing or not sharing the coastal boundary with the Mediterranean Sea. So there was Syria, Jordan, Lebanon and Egypt. So it is Jordan. Egypt is here, Syria, Lebanon. Here it's Gaza. This Gaza sharing boundary with Egypt, and in the mainland majority controlled Israel, and this region, West Bank, Jerusalem, it's just near at the boundary, and this area is under control of Palestine. Here also, this is the Palestinian enclave. And here in Gaza, Hamas, an Islamic resistance movement, is living. This movement is finding this place, or it is known as Hamas in Gaza Strip. So it is basically the largest of several Palestinian militant Islamist group based in Gaza Strip, and its charter says it is committed to the destruction of Israel. Therefore, in Israel, it is considered as a terrorist group. Because of its charter that clearly says that its objective is to destruct Israel. And Hamas originally had a dual purpose of carrying out an armed struggle against Israel led by its military wing, the Izzeddin al-Qassam Brigades. Izzeddin al-Qassam Brigades, and delivering social welfare programs in Palestinian conclave or enclave. So it was working for the social welfare of the people, and also it is against the Israel sovereignty. So therefore, Israel is targeting Hamas clearly, as we are seeing here. Since 2005, when Israel withdrew its troops and settlers from Gaza, Hamas has also engaged in the Palestinian political process. So now this is, along with the being named as terrorist organization, it is also a political process organization considered in the eyes of Palestine, but again never liked by Israel. So this is the position of Hamas. If it is asked here that what is Hamas, so it is pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. It is pro-Palestine, not pro-Israel. So this was about the Hamas. Now, the next topic we have is the Parliamentary Standing Committee. An easy topic, but when questions are asked from this area, generally candidates have this tendency of making minor mistakes. So let's see where the mistakes can be committed and where you should have a clear idea of what needs to be remembered in exam hall. So why this topic has come up? Because the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports assigned to examine the prohibition of child marriage bill, which seeks to raise the legal age for marriage for women to 18 to 21 from 18, and it has only one women MP out of 31 members. See the irony. It is talking about the age of marriage for females, and while discussing this crucial topic, sensitive topic, the committee has only one female member or female MP who will take care of this bill and who will discuss this bill. And you can see that what sort of inputs would she be able to give, and how the 31 male members would listen to it, and how far would they understand it, and how far would those understanding or discussed topics would be considered while enacting the final draft of the law. Now, the bill piloted by the Women and Child Development Ministry seeks to increase the legal age from 18 to 21. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, this committee is important. UPSC can ask that which committee was assigned to discuss the child marriage bill from 18 to 21. So it was Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports, and it belongs to Rajya Sabha. Now, according to rules of procedure and conduct of business in the Council of States, there shall be Parliamentary Standing Committee of the House to be called as standing committees related to ministries and departments. The main objective of the standing committee is to secure more accountability of the executive, very important, to the parliament, particularly financial accountability, and also it keeps a checks and balance. And while discussing the bills, they have no fear of alligated under the defection law, because here within this minor group, bills are easily and more clearly discussed, because in the parliament, due to paucity of time, it is not possible for the large debates and discussions of the bill. They also assist the parliament in debating the budget more effectively, that why the financial provisions were made and how prudent are they. This is discussed within these committees. There are 24 standing committees covered under their jurisdiction all the ministry departments of the central government. Each standing committee consists of 31 members. Always remember, the majority of those are coming from Lok Sabha and minority from Rajya Sabha. The members 21 of Lok Sabha are nominated, not elected, by Speaker from amongst its own members, and members of Rajya Sabha are nominated by the chairman from its members. Proportion of members belonging to different political parties are nominated based on their strength, never on election. Never on election. They are nominated based on the strength of the political party present in the House. A minister is never eligible for taking a place in the standing committees. Only the MPs, or we call them private members. Private members are those who are not holding any government portfolio or profile, but they are just MP and belong to the political party. They are known as private members. The term of office of each standing committee is 1 year from the date of its constitution. After that, it stands dissolved. Now, out of 24 standing committees, 8 work under the Rajya Sabha and 16 work under the Lok Sabha. So it is the ratio of Lok Sabha 16 and Rajya Sabha 8 committees. Now, each standing committee shall have the following functions. Demands for grants they consider, they report, anything about the they shall not suggest anything of the nature of the cut motions. Rather, they will just discuss it and they will declare the viability, feasibility, and how well the demand was appropriated or promoted. It is just becomes the discussion part, because the cut motion is a prerogative of Lok Sabha only. Now, to examine bills pertaining to the related ministry departments referred to the committee by the chairman or the speaker to consider the annual reports of the ministries, to consider national basic long-term policy documents presented to the House, because again, due to paucity of time, it is not possible to discuss all the bills in detail within the Parliament itself. Therefore, these standing committees work in the back end and they meet timely and they have some powers assigned to them. The limitations are imposed. What are the limitations? They should not consider the matters of day-to-day administration of the concerned ministries and departments. Only the bills and regulations they are generally about to read. They should not generally consider the matters which are considered by other parliamentary committees. So that means no cross-functional aspirations. Then it should be noted here that the recommendations of these committees are advisory in nature, never binding, because they will only provide the material, knowledge, facts, informations, any other admissions of facts provided by the witnesses or the people who have been called by the standing committees to present before them. The 8 standing committees under the Rajya Sabha are Commerce, Home Affairs, Human Resource Development, Industry, Science and Tech, Environment, Transport, Tourism and Culture, Committee on Health and Family Welfare, Committee on Personnel, Public Grievances, Law and Justice. Now, when these committees are providing their reports, it is not binding in nature, it is just an advisory in nature. Of late, we have been seeing that since their inception in 1993, the quantum of work assigned to them in previous parliaments during 2000s, it was considerably high allocation of businesses to them. But of late we are seeing in the previous or of late governments that the number of or the percentage of allocation of works or bills to be discussed in these standing committees has been reduced, drastically reduced from over 60% to below 30%, and their recommendations in most of the cases are not generally considered. Then if this is the nature, then at least the recommendation must become the basis of debates and discussion in the parliament itself, and the ministries must deliberately focus on the recommendations, because the first-hand information and the primary research conducted and done by the parliamentary committees are of immense use. So this treasure must not be just left within the or not considering that of important nature. So otherwise there will be no meaning of having these standing committees in the parliament itself. So these members who are working with great intentions must be brought and taken aboard while discussing the bills and draft, because it is always parliament is only working for the people, and all the mechanism created within the parliament by the rules and procedures of the houses must be taken care of and must be respected. So that was about the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Next is National Population Register versus Census of the Registrar General. This is important for prelims point of view. What is National Population Register? The NPR is a database of usual residents in the country who have stayed in local area for the past 6 months or more and who intend to remain in the same place for next 6 months or more. This is known as usual resident in the country. It is mandatory for every usual resident of India to register in the NPR. It is generated through house-to-house numeration during the house listing phase of the census, which is held once in 10 years. The NPR is individual and identity specific, while the census only provides information on the status of the residents of India and population swings. So it is talking about the resident or residency and population swings, that how the population is migrating, where it was, now where it is, and what sort of work they are doing, and etc etc. The NPR is individual and identity specific. We will see how it is there. The census involves a detailed questionnaire. There are 29 items to be filled up in 2011 census aimed at eliciting the particulars of every person, including age, sex, marital status, children, occupation, birthplace, mother tongue, religion, disability, whether they belong to any scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. It is basically the identification of a member via general belongingness to the groups. Why am I saying that? Because religion is there, disability is there, occupation is there, birthplace is there, marital status is there, mother tongue is there. Otherwise, individual identity specific, we can say that it is generally defined by Aadhaar, person's biometrics, fingerprints, iris scan, voice modulations, etc., etc., and etc. So these things are more personal in nature and more assigned to the individual existence of the person rather belonging to the majority of the groups or having an association with some social groups. The NPR collects basic demographic data and biometric particulars. Here we see. So what is the legal basis for the NPR? This is important. Census is backed by a Census Act of 1948. Whereas the NPR is under the mechanism of Citizenship Act of 1955. This area regulates the citizenship matters in the country. And as per Article 11, Parliament is free to make any law with respect to the citizenship in the country. That how the citizenship must be granted, how it should be removed, how it must be taken off. The Registrar General India under Ministry of Home Affairs shall act as the National Registration Authority and will function as the Registrar General of Citizen Registration. Incidentally, the Registrar General is also the country's Census Commissioner. So, the Registrar General of India will see the NPR registry. The Registrar General also issues general directions regarding registration of births and deaths. This is just one function of a registrar. Then, the usual person details, 3 biometrics, namely photograph, 10 fingerprints and 2 iris would be collected for person of age 5 years and above. For what? For NPR. Face, fingerprints and eyes scan. This will allocate the National Population Registry, assigning to the person who is a usual resident of the area. While non-resident Indians, will non-resident Indians NRI to be part of NPR? No, because they are not a usual resident. Because who is a usual resident? Who remains in 6 months or for 6 months in a place and he is planning to remain for another 6 months in that place. He is a usual resident. Whereas an NRI is someone who beyond 180 days or more than 180 days is staying outside India. He will be known as NRI. So what is the connection between NPR and Aadhaar UID number? The data collected in National Population Register will be sent to UIDAI, the authority of Aadhaar, for deduplication. That means if any duplicate Aadhaar numbers have been assigned, so based on the biometrics, photographs and iris scan, that deduplication can be taken off and issue Aadhaar number which is one for one person. The register will contain 3 elements of data as we have seen: demographic data, biometric data and the Aadhaar number. So this demographic data is photo, biometric data, iris scan, finger scan, and so this it also speaks about the residency of the person, and this photo is biometric. Registrar General and Censor Commissioner of India, how do they do, what do they do, the responsibilities, you can take a look over here. There's nothing to discuss about this peculiarly. Sample registration system, of course, implementation of sample registration system, large scale sample survey of vital events is conducted on half-yearly basis, is also the responsibility of ORG. SRS is an important source of vital rates like birth rate, death rate, infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate at the state level in the country. Mother tongue survey, the project surveys the mother tongues which are returned consistently across 2 and more census decades. The research program documents the linguistic features of the selected mother tongues. Linguistic Survey of India is a regular research activity in ORG and CCI since 6th 5-year plan. So if we look at the do you know thing, which is just a second. Yes. Maternal mortality ratio refers to the number of maternal deaths per 1 lakh women in reproductive age in a year. These questions are now coming back in the force because these figures generally confuse, and that will take away your one right answer. This child mortality rate refers to the number of deaths of children less than 5 years of age per 1000 live births. Infant mortality rate per 1000 live births, the number of deaths of children less than 1 year of age, infant, that is 0 to 1 year of age. Neonatal refers to the number of, sorry, this is 1 month. 1 month to 1 year. Neonatal is 0 to 28 days per 1000 live births. Perinatal refers to the sum total of neonatal death and fetal deaths, stillbirths per 1000 live births. So these are the terms you should have a fair idea. Only the maternal mortality rate is counted as per 1 lakh females or live births or reproductive age in a year. Other than the maternal, this MMR, all CMR, IMR, NMR, all are accounted in reference of 1000 live births. So this was, I just wanted to let you know about the topics.